Hey everyone. So at the time of this recording, I've pretty much finished the script, and I'm gonna start recording voice lines and going on to there. But I just want to kind of like take a minute to first of all just tell you guys thank you. Honestly, dude. The last video, the Bochi video, was really well received. I got a lot of comments from you guys. It was really awesome. You know, getting like to reply to everybody and have conversations and just honestly talk to you guys about your thoughts on the show, because it was a show I really enjoyed. You know, apparently you guys really enjoyed it as well. So it was honestly just really cool getting to talk with you guys about it. And I just appreciate you guys, you know, commenting and leaving your likes and watching it all the way through. Really, I was so glad to see it do so well, because I honestly didn't think it would. um, But yeah, thank you guys so much for that. I just want to take a minute to say that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much again for the support on the last video. Hope you enjoy. We're going to play the word association game. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to say a word, and when I say it, I want you to comment the first thing that pops into your mind. Ready? Anime. Oh god, fuck, not that, no. When the anime community is addressed with this concept of recalling anime, there's always that reflection of the past. A recollection of a time where maybe we used to think anime was some kind of stupid Chinese cartoon that only losers watched, only for a single moment to change the way we perceive the media as a whole. For most, I'd say it's a magical experience, one where the audience gets to experience a new and exciting land of enchantment, a set of relatable and lovable characters never before seen, and even... Wait, what? Huh? This is not enchanting or magical. This is fucking terrifying. I think it's safe to say that my first real encounter with anime was an interesting one. I say real in regards to the fact that I had some experience with anime without really knowing it as a kid. Things like Dragon Ball Z Kai, Pokemon, Bakugan, and many other shows I believed to be cartoons at that moment, in time turned out to be part of a much bigger genre of media I'd yet to discover. Crazy, I know, cartoons and anime just look so similar, it's wild. That said, imagine my surprise when I learned that all these shows I watched as a kid somehow were related to something like this. It really was a jarring experience at the time, but was an interesting one nonetheless. In my opinion, one of the many interesting things about anime is that it can somehow take on any set list of genre and tone to appeal to a target age audience. I just don't really think we have anything like that here in the States, at least nothing that really comes to mind anyway. I mean, don't get me wrong, when I was growing up we had things like Adventure Time, Steven Universe, Regular Show, and all those kinds of cartoons. We even have cartoons directly geared towards adult audiences like Family Guy, American Dad, or even things like Rick and Morty now. But while these shows are great in their own respective genre of animation, they aren't always geared towards their targeted audience in the same way that anime is. Cartoons I watched as a kid, like Regular Show and all the ones I mentioned before, started out relatively childish and grew up with their audience, maturing as the series progressed. With Family Guy and other forms of adult animation in the West, we see that most of what differentiates them from children's animations is the jokes used in the vague and often satirical style of adult living that's represented throughout the show. Or Peter fighting a fucking chicken, I don't know, take your pick. When comparing this kind of situation to anime though, there's somewhat of a clear distinction in how these shows are geared towards their specific audience. Now, I'm not saying that every anime does a good job at doing this, but there are some that no doubt illustrate the lifestyles of the audience they're targeting very well. The manga and anime Nana is a really good example of this, illustrating the drama and emotional stress that is present throughout many adult relationships through the characters and their interactions. Even Tsuki ga Kire, an anime that's basically known for how realistically it depicts a sort of awkward and sometimes stressful experience of a middle school relationship, These anime have a clear distinction between them, with characters and plots that are so relatable to only those who would have experience in those kinds of lifestyles. I say all of this not to really compare cartoons versus anime, but to instead give some insight as to how I felt when I first came into contact with my very first legitimate anime experience. Akame ga Kill was one hell of an introduction to the world of anime, and since you could argue that the anime was targeted toward a young adult audience, which I happened to be at the age of 15, I was pretty damn powerless against it. Action anime seems to be that genre that just 9 times out of 10 gets people into the medium. I don't know how, but in some sense, anime just has this way of grabbing your attention and holding it, either through the quality of the art, the characters' interactions, or just the plots in general that are so different than anything we ever knew growing up. I remember the night I came across Akame ga Kill so clearly because at the time there was nothing like it. It really left a mark, and I mean really left a mark. Like I watched the entire series 28 times over and memorized all the English dubbed voice lines from episodes 1 to 24 kind of mark. I remember sitting up that night watching Cartoon Network with my little sister in the living room until she eventually fell asleep. At this point, it was really late into the night though, and as a result, Cartoon Network had switched over to Toonami, which as I'm sure most of us already know in this community is a late night block segment of anime that airs on Saturdays. I honestly forget what the lineup of shows was for that night, but I do remember trying to skip over them as the titles I had seen made absolutely no fucking sense to me at the time. And so I tried to fill my time with other channels, but there was nothing really on that I could enjoy. I remember bouncing around from channel to channel until I somehow found myself back at the Toonami segment. Now, I don't know if you guys could have guessed this about 15-year-old Nepasawa, but out of the words Akame ga Kill, I knew only what one of them meant, and spent a good 5 minutes trying to figure out what the fuck a ga was. And so, out of pure chance, I clicked it, and just like that, I was exposed to an art form that would somehow help shape me into the person I am today. And it was perfectly timed, too. I clicked the channel right when the fight between Tatsumi, Akame, and Zanku started, and the goosebumps I got when Akame saw Kurame through Zanku's Imperial Arms was unlike anything I had ever felt before. I didn't even know who the fuck the characters were, but the music, the voice acting, the mere concept of it all was enough to send my dopamine level sky high, baby. Let's go! That said, Akame ga Kill was an adventure like no other. It was a story filled with tragedy, bonds, and a paradox between light and dark that drew the audience in for a roller coaster of emotions that could be expressed for both sides within the anime. That being said, I honestly wish I could say the anime adaptation was good. One of the most problematic things about the series is the fact that despite the source material presenting a relatively well-balanced and fully fleshed out story, the anime didn't quite match that energy. Unfortunately, Akame ga Kill turned out to be one of those series where the anime managed to outpace the source material, and as a result, the series suffered for it. Characters that died in the anime didn't do so in the manga, spurring a disconnect between the source material and the anime throughout the later half of the show. Whole-ass character-changing events, like say, I don't know, like where someone becomes a fucking dragon, for instance, were altered and were instead replaced with a bittersweet end. That said, it might surprise you to find out that I don't actually hate the series. Despite its shortcomings, Akame ga Kill holds a tiny corner in the bodily artery that is my kokoro, and I wouldn't trade my first anime for anything else. Partially because of, well, this. But also because upon watching the series, I came to find out that the anime does a good job of making you feel something, and I don't just mean sadness. Now look, ladies and gentlemen, I would be doing a lie. A fib, even, if I told you that I was an overly joyful and perfect teenager with no problems. I'm sure that, like many others, my middle school years were nothing short of confusing with multiple daily struggles of anxiety, popularity chasing, and academic pressure to add on to my 15-year-old psyche. Needless to say, it was a struggle, and was one that sort of made me retract from school in general over the years. As a result of that, I didn't really have a place in the social hierarchy of middle school or high school, and was instead pretty much left alone most of the time. Upon diving headfirst into the 2-foot pool that was the Akame ga Kill anime though, I was pretty much given a place and, as cringe as this might sound, a home away from home. It didn't matter that nobody knew me or my interest, and it didn't matter if they liked me or not, because to me, I'd found a place in a small corner of the community that let me be myself and enjoy what I loved. And I couldn't be more thankful for that, honestly. Looking back, I've honestly met so many good people throughout the community and made some pretty damn good friends because of my connection with anime. And those memories wouldn't have happened had I not branched out and given Akame my first time. That sounds bad. But I ain't stuttering. In closing, I'll say this. Akame ga Kill was not very well adapted. It was, however, an anime of creatures, lore, and worlds unlike any other, and is one I love regardless of its flaws. It was a fantasy-themed roller coaster with so many action-packed and emotional moments that gave the ride so many twists and turns to enjoy. Be it Tatsumi's growth as an assassin and learning what it means to take a life, or Akame's progression to look past the deaths of those she's already lost. Everyone in Night Raid has some sort of progression and purpose in the series. It really was one hell of a watch, and who knows, you might enjoy it if you give it a try. I would still urge you to read the manga though. There are some moments where it gets pretty out there in terms of violence. Like when these fuckers show up, don't read that part. It's so fucked up. I'll go ahead and also say that if you want me to do a second video on this anime, you know, where I actually fucking review it, then please let me know in the comments below. I feel like I don't ask you guys a lot of things you might want to see, so I'm more often than not just going off pure instinct on things my bonobo brain reacts to. Regardless, thank you all so much for watching me recall my first experience with anime, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Also, just one last thing, thank you guys once again for all the support on the channel. It has been awesome. I didn't think we would grow to 100 as fast as we did, but you guys have made it possible. You've been leaving your likes, you've been subscribing, you've been commenting. It's been really great. I've loved the experience of just being able to interact with you guys and have conversations about anime and everything going on. So thank you guys so much again for the support. I really appreciate it. And thank you all for watching, and I'll hopefully see you in the next vid. Itterashai!